Good morning, students. How are you, students? Fine. So today in our English literature class we are going to read a very good story from workbook chapter number 4. Okay, so let us move to the story. The story is all about a process through which criminals are arrested, criminals are investigated, and criminals are detected. And that is all about what? Fingertips. All about fingertips. And this is a very good story. I have written some main points from this chapter. Just go through the points. Everyone in the world has a unique set of fingerprints. So everybody in the world, whoever may be, they have unique set of fingerprints. Okay. And no two people have the same pattern of lines, and these patterns never change throughout their lives. So no two persons has the same pattern of line over their fingers, and they are not changed throughout their lives. That is very special features. Next, it was in India that fingerprints were first used for catching criminals. So these tips, this process were used to catch criminals first in India, and that is an interesting fact. Next, this method was first developed in the 1890s by an Englishman. Who discovered this process? An Englishman in 1890. Okay, and he was Edward Henry, an Inspector General of Indian Police. In that period of British rule, the Inspector General of Indian Police was Edward Henry, and he actually first developed this process to catch the criminals. Okay. Now, before this process of registering characteristics of criminals was done by measuring the length of arm and leg. So before the invention of this process, the characteristics of criminals were registered by measuring the length of their arms and legs. Okay, and by photography. And another thing was photography, and this was invented by Frenchman Alphonse Bartillon. This Frenchman actually discovered this process before the discovering of fingerprints and fingertips. The last point. As most of the people are right-handed, the ridges of the left finger would be prominent for judging. Fingerprints are taken from the criminals of which hand? You know? Of the left hand. Fingerprints are always taken from the left hand thumb. Why? Because most of the people of the world are right-handed. They do most of the work through their right hand, and their right hand ridges are worn out. They are not so prominent, and the left hand is not used so much. So the ridges of the left hand will be sharper than the right hand. So it will be easier to find out the difference of ridges between the criminals, and it will be easy for taking photograph of fingerprints. So for this reason, the fingerprints are taken from the left hand thumb. Okay. Now coming to the story, this was the main points, and I am just going a little bit detail. Okay. In 19th century, Sir Francis Galton discovered that everyone in the world has a unique set of fingerprints. So everyone in the world has a unique set of fingerprints, and this was discovered by Sir Francis Galton. Okay. And he also discovered that no two people have the same pattern of lines, and these patterns never change throughout our lives. And he also discovered this, that what? The lines of the fingers on the fingers are not changed throughout our lives. Okay, the whole life our finger nail pattern, fingertip pattern will be the same. There will be no change. It was in India that fingerprints were first used for catching criminals. Okay, and this method was first developed in the 1890 by an Englishman. He was Edward Henry, an Inspector General of the Indian Police. Already I have written this point. Okay. Before Henry's discovery, the characteristics of criminals were registered using a different method developed by the Frenchman Alphonse Patillon. That was also discovered. That was also discussed. Okay. Now, Edward Henry, who was the police officer, who was the Inspector General of Indian Police of that time, he actually instructed the police officers for what? To take impression of the criminals, of the left hand. Why? He believed that as most people are right-handed, the ridges on the left thumb would be less worn, and therefore it would be sharper for photograph. I discussed that. As because most of the people are right-handed, the ridges will be worn out on the right hand, so the fingerprints are taken of the left hand, as because the ridges will be prominent, sharper, and it will be easy for taking photograph. Henry was put in charge of the criminal investigation department at Scotland Yard. You have heard about the agency, about the investigation department of England. Okay. And this department is very much famous, very much renowned throughout the world. What is that? Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard is a criminal investigation department of England, and this Inspector General who actually discovered this process, he was given the charge of this renowned organization, that means Scotland Yard. Okay. And though he retired in 1991, he is still known as Mr. Fingerprints. He has been retired, but his name actually always counted. His name always counted, and he is honored as the name Fingerprints, Mr. Fingerprints. So this is the story. This was a good story, and I think you all learned some new information. You have got some new information about some criminals, how the criminals are caught, how the criminals are detected. So this was how the police department actually identify the criminals from the innocent persons. Okay, as because we have the finger prints different from others, as because all the person of the world has unique set of finger prints. That's why criminals are easily detected. The fingerprints of criminals are registered by the police, and whenever there is crime, they just match the fingerprints of the criminal with the registered, with the kept information, so that they are arrested easily. Okay, so you would read this story again and again and try to understand the meaning as well. If there is any problem, you must ask me. But remember, these are workbook. These are actually meant for your speed practice, your speed improvement. So just you need to read the lines with very high speed and aloud, and at the same time you need to understand the meaning as well. So just now I am going to discuss one paragraph about a common bird, and that is crow. Okay, now just study this paragraph and try to write paragraph of this kind about other birds as well. Was it okay? Crow. The crow is a very common bird, seen here and there, everywhere. So that is very simple. Crow is a common bird. We can see it in every place. Here, there, everywhere we can find that. It is black in color. You know that it has a long, black, strong beak and a tail. It has a beak, and that beak is very much long and black as well and strong. Okay, and it has a tail. It caws loudly. So crow gives the sound. Whatever sound the crows give out, that is called caw. So it caws loudly. Okay, it gives the sound loudly. Crows live on trees. Where do they live? On trees. In big groups. They don't live alone, separately. They live in big groups. That means they live together. Crow is really a good friend of man. So crow is a friend of man. How? It keeps the environment clean. It makes the environment clean. How? It eats up and removes so many dirty things. Crow actually lives on dirty items, leftover items. Okay, and that's why it cleans the environment, and that's why it is our friend. It is a natural cleaner. So nobody says a crow to clean those things. It automatically cleans, willingly cleans. And crow is a bird from the nature, and we can tell that it is a natural cleaner. That means without anybody's permission, without anybody's request, order, it cleans the environment. So it is natural cleaner. And natural cleaner maybe another meaning. It cleans the nature. That's why it is natural cleaner. Crow is a clever bird and can steal our eatables. So crow is not a foolish bird. It is very clever. If you keep something eatables, and if you are not watching, not noticing that item, so the crow can steal it in no time. You can't notice when it steals. So it is a clever bird. Okay, it is afraid of men and animals, especially dogs. Crow actually is afraid of human being, and it is also afraid of animals, especially dogs. Dogs, whenever dogs see a crow, it starts chasing. It starts chasing. A dog starts chasing a crow whenever a dog finds a crow. That's why crows are always away from the dogs. Okay. It is a very fast learner. So as the students learn, and some students are very rapid learner, fast learner. So crow, among the birds, crow is a rapid learner. That means it can learn very fast. Whatever it needs to learn, it learns very quickly. It can observe the danger and warns other birds of it. So crow can notice the danger, can observe the danger, can predict the danger, and before the danger comes, it can warn all other birds. And this is the specialty of crow. Crow is an omnivorous bird. Omnivorous means which eats both plants and animals product. That means crow eats rice, bread. These are plant product, and it also eats meat, fish. These are also animal products. So crows are actually omnivorous. They eat plant and animal products. It kills insects to eat them. Crows kill insects. Crow kills insects. For what? To eat them. And thus saves our environment. Saves our environment. And in this way, it cleans the environment and saves the environment. Okay? So this is all about crow. You try to write the paragraph of your own in a different way. You can write. This is one sample, one example, one model. You can write of your own in another language, in another sentence, different types of sentence. And at the same time, don't write just crow. Try to write about other birds as well. Okay? Of your own. So bye bye all of you. Have a great day.